Welcome to the CascadiaSports.net Seahawks post-game report. I'm Osvita Mara Ira, and the Seahawks take a bitter 40-34 overtime loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think why it's bitter and disappointing is that for 2 games in a row now, you've lost the same way. You had 2 weeks to right yourself, and you come back and you throw up kind of a stinker in terms of your inability to execute down the stretch, inability to play run defense, your inability to run the ball yourself. The Seahawks have 65 yards total, rushing yards, that is. And Ken Walker had another dismal game. Now, you're not blaming him, but he scored 2 touchdowns, but he had 12 carries just for 22 yards. So, and when you're doing that and you're unable to run, you're chasing. You're behind the chains all day. Again, the Seahawks are 3 of 9 on third down conversion. Now, the Raiders 8 and 14. And in the NFL, you got to move the chains and you got to keep it down to third and low and, third and manageable, which is under 5 yards. And that's just something the Seahawks last 2 games are unable to do. And they had 2 turnovers today, an interception by Geno, and then a fumble. Kind of sounds like a broken record, right? Coming in, Geno talked about, and Pete, all week they talked about, we're going to be manageable. We're going to make sure to take care of the ball. And if the opportunity represents itself, be aggressive, but don't be too aggressive. And actually, Geno had a third one down here, but it was called back in the corner of the end zone. A review kind of said no, the player was, for the Raiders, he was out of bounds. So it could have been 3. But the defense was just unable to stop Josh Jacobs. You knew coming in, he finished the game with 229 yards on 33 carries and scored 2 touchdowns. Jacobs was averaging 6.9 yards per carry. It's hard to make any kind of stop when you are, to stop anybody. Every time they touch the ball, they are advancing it for 6.9 yards. In their post-game interview, Quandre Diggs, Jordan Brooks, and Geno Smith, said, we're going to take a look at the man in the mirror. We're not going to blame anybody. It's our fault. That's in terms of each and every one of them, which means they need to have some accountability as a team. You got 6 games left, and down the stretch, and so you're 6 and 5, and you've got 2 games against the Rams, which one is next week, and then another one, and you've got one more against the 49ers, and hopefully by the time you play that game, you're still in the hunt for a division. You're still in that hunt for a division, and to do that, you've got to get back to basics. And as I said in the post-game interview, they all talked about it has to be us, but we have to get back to basics, and we have to be aggressive, is what Jordan Brooks said. And I asked Pete about, is it the D-line is not getting the push up there? Well, he said, no, it's not that easy. It's really complicated. It takes all 3 phases, all 3 units of the defense. That is, the D-line has got to put some push on the offensive line, get off the blocks, and then your linebackers have to make that play, get in the gaps, in the run fits, right? And then your backers, that is your cornerback, your free safety, and and your strong safety have to read the play and come up and and hopefully they don't have to make the tackle too much, but get up there. So defense takes a step back. I think the offense struggled quite a bit. The greatest example is that even in overtime, you take the game into overtime, you stop them right here. That is the defense stops the Raiders in overtime. Offense gets the ball, and it's a 3 and out. And you just, the golden opportunity to right that wrong. But again, Seahawks offensive line could not stop Max Crosby. He came in with 9 sacks. He got 1.5 today. So there was something going on in terms of, on offense, the alignments and the blocking schemes. And so, pretty disappointing loss for the Seahawks today. As I said, a 40-34 overtime loss. And it's just a mirror image of the loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Turnovers, miscommunication, on both sides of the ball. And when you do that, you end up with the 6-5 record. So for the CascadiaSports.net post-game report, I'm Osvito Mara.